business models and site design are entirely geared toward advertising and not the reader. On today's internet, advertisements are distracting, invasive, and overwhelming. In Den, the primary objective is quality content. Instead of ads, you may occasionally see a boosted post where a user has risked value to increase its visibility. Just like any other post, you can upvote or downvote to help evaluate the relevance to your community. The more engagement a boosted post gets, the less the booster pays. Depending on the evaluation process, a booster can get up to 85% of their money back, if the post is well targeted and engaging. In Den, quality content is the primary objective.
Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Den, episode 6. Similar to last week, we've got David and Dave here.
Good morning, everyone.
We're going to go by Distant and Gravity Crab just to keep things a little bit less confusing.
Not having a multi-Dave situation.
Yeah, which we've had before. He's gone by Steve Dave in the past. Just to
Oh, God, I forgot about that. I was Steve for a solid 6 months.
Yeah, it was, and actually, I think to this day, some people in my family still call you Steve Dave.
George to this day still refers to me as Steve Dave 100% every time he sends me a message.
So yeah, we're here to talk about Den again. It's last week was interesting. I had 3 different live streams on last Wednesday before the holidays. So I think it'll be a little bit easier this time. And I was thinking about this yesterday and the day before a little bit about how in the beginning I had gone through like talking about top posts and different strategies, voting and things like that, what it means, the different actions that you're doing. And then I got off on these long winded hour and a half long episodes explaining different things like kind of in depth on Den as best I could. And so today I want to come back around and just talk about top posts again. And the cool thing about this is that it'll highlight some of the content on Den, of course, but also we can talk about anything we want. It doesn't have to be about Den as long as it's on Den. So it opens up really the conversation to a lot of topics. So wanted to say going forward, not only can you join the call on these, which if you bring up the post, it's let me share my screen. I forgot to do that. If you bring up the post, there's a link to join the call right here. This is in the Den Lair, and it's just titled episode 6 here. It's one of the top posts if you organize it by trending. And if you don't want to join the call, you can drop a post in the reply section, which some people already have. And
There's some really good ones in there right now.
But in the future, if you want to drop an actual post, a link to a different post on Den, maybe it's your own that you want us to check out live on the air, we can do that too. So yeah, there's that. Let's see.
And that would be great, by the way, like having a couple of people that want to just like jump in and maybe even be in the call. I mean, that would be awesome to see some of that community interaction as well. That'll
definitely happen, especially once on Super Happy yesterday, Joe mentioned that we'll probably be going to weekly governance meetings for Den. Right now we do it every other week, but once we have the governance tools in, people are going to be making a lot of decisions and changing settings and putting up new banners and adding new just like general
they'll be able to do all kinds of cool stuff with it.
Proposals.
So it should get moved around and stuff should get done quickly on it.
Yeah, that, and we can actually just drop in on governance calls to check out what people are doing and see what's working for different layers, and hopefully that gives us an idea. All of us are experimenting here. This whole thing is one big experiment. So we get to share data, what works, what didn't work, just observing what's happening to see what the best method is for, getting value out of the platform, but also just like seeing maybe awesome content.
I mean, there is some fun stuff, let's be honest. Like we definitely have a community that likes to pump out a lot of really good things most of the time. I end up getting stuck on Den. I was lost on Den this morning when you were telling me, oh, jump in for a test. I was like, oh yeah, except I'm looking at 5 things. Hold on.
Yeah, it's all good. Let me refresh the page because I tried to push down some spam in the comments. Let's see if it still shows up. Yeah, it's still there. It'll go away eventually. That's all right. But that gives us an opportunity to talk about airdrops. So that's good. All right. So I wanted to just get a couple of things out of the way real quick. Next Tuesday, LCP opens for new proposals for new layers. So if you are in a community, if you have a particular hobby that you would be interested in bringing on to Den and supporting not just bringing it on to Den, but supporting a community of other hobbyists or other people that share a same interest. Maybe you already have a network of preppers, for example, and it would be cool to have a layer on Den where you talk about that stuff. Well, this would be how you do that. It's the LCP system, and there's already a bunch of layers proposed. But before this opens on Tuesday, which is where you can just propose any new layer, take this week to go check out all of the existing ones and see if maybe yours is already in there. Oh, this wants me to open MetaMask. Hold on. Yeah, so if you click on this LCP on the right, just go through and see if your layer is in there. I think I mentioned, what did I say a minute ago, preppers?
Yeah, I think you said preppers.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that I'm trying to get in here. I'll give him a call and see if he's ready to throw in on preppers. But that would
there's a preppers layer.
Yeah, so that would be cool. And somebody mentioned airdrops too, about an airdrops layer to organize things into there. That's in here as well. Airdrops, boom. Unique 12 voters, 12 people want to throw in on that. And as you can see, I've kind of just gone through and sprinkled in some lore here and there. If you don't know, you get lore automatically just for using Den. And lore is what you use to vote on these proposals.
I did not know that until 2 days ago when I clicked a button and I found a bunch of lore. I was like, oh, okay, I do have this.
Yep. In fact, one of the things I had brought up is, where is it? I've got it on one of my tabs here. December 1st snapshot. So that's today. Accounts paid out. We've paid out 3,300 accounts, and then our total tokens from the different pools. I was gonna recap super happy and answer a question related to time in different sections, but this maybe is a good time to do it because it's all right here. We've got, these are basically, if you're familiar with the way that other projects in the cryptocurrency community work, this is basically our farming, quote unquote. It's a different take on it. It's cheaper, fees wise. You don't have to move things in and out of a contract. You don't have to relinquish custody of your tokens. Like a lot of, if anyone watching has done any sort of DeFi or any kind of staking with smart contracts and things like that, most of the time you're losing ownership, custody rather, of your tokens. You're giving them to a smart contract or basically another person who wrote that contract and saying, please don't lose this, and then you yield rewards off of it. Well, you don't have to do that here. You can stake on Ethereum without any fees, and all you have to do is claim your wallet in your Ethereum wallet, like your MetaMask wallet, in your Den account, and the system just takes care of everything automatically. We can see the Ethereum blockchain. We're interoperable, so we can just look at your account over there and see what's in it and credit you for farming without ever charging fees. So this is a cool breakdown. This is the lore being paid out for different tokens that you hold in your wallet. So as you make Matter on Den, Matter has a certain pool that gets paid out in lore. So the more Matter you hold, the more lore you get every single day.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Right? And then that lore can be spent to open up some new layers. So you have morning. I said morning because I was reading the word good morning. So you have, you don't have to go out and buy it, in other words. You just earn it by participating and by pulling the levers and twisting the knobs in the way the instructions say is a good way to do it. Good
this
morning.
Might be something you either touch on. This might be something you touch on in a little bit or whatever. But how does one actually propose a layer? Because I know there's a bunch of them in here to vote on.
Let's do that right now. I'll hit time real quick, just because someone asked about it in the post. So time is something that is Dragon Chain specific. It doesn't mean that it can't be used with Den and it can't be used with other projects or tokens. It's just something that Dragon Chain invented and has a patent for. That's a way to. So it's a lot of things. So I'm going to explain it from the way that I use it personally, because I'm a miner and a node runner, and I like to earn cryptocurrency tokens for participating in networks and helping things out. So what you can do with time is you can run Dragon Chain nodes. Whether you're a business running a node like Den, for example, is a business that built on DragonNet, and that business would have to stake a certain amount of time to their node in order to determine what their transaction fees are. So every time I vote on this and I add a wager to it as well, all of that's going on chain. It's all proven out to Ethereum and to Bitcoin and stuff like that. But every single thing that I do, if I reply on here, if I tip on here, every action, if I tag something, like if I tag this as news, all of that individually goes on chain, every bit of it. And so what time does is simply the more time you have applied to your business node, the less you have to pay per transaction. And it's independent of Ethereum. And that's how it scales up. That's how we can scale up the network. I'm a little half asleep, so I'm not going to throw out any big words because I can't remember them right now. But I hope that answers the question about time. Now, we can use time. Like, let's say we wanted to get let me just pick somebody I like. Let's say I've been messing with this new project that Dave and I are going to build a rig for today.
That'd be fun.
We're going to be mining this new coin called Raptorium. It's a CPU mineable proof of work token. I have no idea about like where it's going. I can't say that it's any good. In fact, the Telegram looks shady as hell. So, but
it's okay. We just got some tiny cheap CPUs
experiment
for it. No big deal, right?
Yeah. So theoretically, the point though is if we were in contact with that community and they wanted to, for example, get a layer on Den because their Telegram channel sucks and it's not even useful because it's just a bunch of spam and a bunch of memes and stuff like that, which is, I don't know, maybe that's what they're about. Not sure. But if they wanted to come over on Den, they could actually use time with their native token or currency, right? In other words, they could use time as a scarcity in their community to figure out like who's holding, who's dumping, who should be able to vote on stuff, like that kind of thing. So there's ways to use it. I don't think that we're going to use it like that, like I just described, anytime soon, but it's like an option in the future. We could totally do that. Because Den itself, there's different types of layers. There's the LCP, which we'll move on to right now. There's the LCP, which is once a month. And those are community layers. Those have a permanent number of tokens assigned to them. But there's also business layers where you can literally just pay a whole ether and get a layer and decide how many lot you want, send in the lore to get converted, and then that's your business layer to organize your community in. So flexibility. And then it says TBD because we haven't added it to the pool yet, but we actually did have a meeting just yesterday about the liquidity pools. So these two will be added very soon, and the Matter one. So I guess the time is probably the last one. But the Matter, Lore, and Dragon liquidity is coming right up. Probably talk about that tomorrow not tomorrow, next week on the governance call. David, what did you just ask about that I was going to go check out?
Oh, about how one actually proposes a layer generally.
Right. So if you go to the LCP and you see not a layer in there that you're looking to create, right? Somebody hasn't proposed it already for you to jump in on. Then you can go to the LCP layer itself. It's under L, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
It's this. What is that? Is that a? I was never into Pokemon, so is that a Pokemon?
Oh God, no! I don't think that's a Pokemon. I think that's from Adventure Time.
It could be, yeah.
I need to find out.
Is that the one that had the food people?
Oh, I have no idea. That was past my time of watching cartoons.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. However,
we're going to get ruined for that. Someone's going to correct us quickly.
That's all right. Now, you can't post on this right now because the process isn't open until Tuesday. But on Tuesday, you'll be able to come in here and propose a new layer.
Oh.
Right? So November is concluded. Check out the Elon Musk layer, right? So this is the last announcement. And if you look in here, you'll see comments on that. So there'll be another announcement like this. It'll also explain when words. Hang on a second. When the new layer proposals open, and you'll be able to go out to the layer process and propose a new layer at that point. Okay. And when you do that, let me see if I can find one. Here's one, fantasy football, right? When you do that, you have a certain format you need to follow so that we all know what it's about. the layer name, the short name. So the layer name is going to be, how, like right here, it says layer creation process at the top. That's how it'll show up there. And then the short name is going to be like the slug at the top. Like, I don't know if you see L/LCP.
Yeah.
LCP is the short name, and then layer creation process is the full one. And then just like what kind of content, what's your plan for getting a community rallied around it? Do you have a community? Are there other proposers? Some of them, like the outdoors layer, had like 3 or 4 different proposers, and it just was, one person up here that proposed, and then at the bottom it said this is a joint proposal by these people, and if you win and you are the proposer, then you get an additional like 1,000 lore or lot or something, as the proposer of the layer. So that's how you do it. Next Tuesday that opens. If you have an idea that isn't already proposed, then you can do that here.
Okay, cool. I'm genuinely thinking about. I'm thinking I'm going to jump in there at some point and do the aviation thing I was talking to you about.
That'd be great.
And a guitar layer would be kind of cool, I think. I don't know. We'll check it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I know a couple of guitar players. I'll have to see if I can get some of them to.
I've got a couple too. Let's see how many we can pull together.
Here's an alternate proposal for you, David. Let's in fact, let's go right now and look at the music layer, because last week, if you remember,
oh boy,
we did some changes, made some changes to the reputation.
Let's see.
Middle Earth.
And it's going to be under ones that I have subscribed to, probably not the ones I'm looking for.
So I've got it organized by top post right now, which is what this flame at the top means.
Right.
I know I've said that a million times, but I'm just going to keep saying it every now and then. If I click that, it'll go to the newest posts. So I want to look at the newest posts and see. This should get an idea of what's coming in. Before, if you remember, it was I don't know if it was mostly, but it was at least half. Just a video from YouTube pasted in with no comment. Right?
Yeah, none whatsoever. No info, nothing really. Just like, here's a Bruce Springsteen song. Not to call anybody out, but like, here's a Bruce Springsteen song. Everyone like it.
That I've seen the last 3 days in a row.
3 days in a row.
Which is fine if it's a dead layer, and that's something more than nothing. And that's when the music layer started. Actually, that was fine because it was just some sort of like, let's get stuff going. But then I never went in and changed the reputation settings once it got busier. And then when you're dealing with just random people on the internet, some of them just want to come in and farm matter, and it just kind of like, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do, but they'll do it in a way that just kind of like gets in the way of everybody else's content. This one here is cool. This is like, if you're going to come in and just say something short or post a video up, right? Just an idiot posted this about the Beatles and actually wrote something about it.
It's actually pretty funny, actually.
And
it's like introducing them as not the Beatles.
But as you can see, that was 14 hours ago. So while not getting as frequent of posts in here, like we're not getting spam as much, but we're also not getting as much stuff in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the quality is substantially. It's just, we're hoping for stuff that's, a little bit higher quality instead of just mountains of it.
Mm-hmm. But the other side of that is, did we cut out too many people, right? Because if you go by new posts, you've got 14 hours ago, 21 hours ago, the 30th, the 29th. So it could be, and this is part of experimentation, right? It could be that was a little heavy-handed and we need to lower it back down a little bit to get more people in here.
Do you want to drop it down as an experiment? Just check it again next week and see if it's how it's leveling out.
Yeah, if I do that, I'll do it sometime today. I'm not going to sit here and go through it again.
Right, didn't figure.
But the all-time top ones, this one, it's still up here. That's awesome. If you haven't checked out this Vowels Live from Heartwood, this was like a year ago, right? Yeah, January. This was the first live stream that we did on Den that was from a studio with multi-camera. Actually, I got up there and silenced this. Got up there and introduced the band. There's me and I'm in a mask talking about,
that's
hey,
awesome.
I'm Dave. There's Lunchbox and the band and Vowels. And they do a full set. They actually have a very good recording. It's excellent, excellent music. And you should go check it out. Because that's something that I'm proud of and they're proud of. And it's worth watching. But it was a year ago, so a lot of people missed it. And I'm going to be doing more of those next year, starting Actually, I just got some text messages back from a venue that we're starting back with, and got some dates. So me and y'all weird going to be spearheading that. So that answers the question about the reputation last time. It worked, but now we got to figure out, okay, well, we got to make sure there's actual content on there too, and that can be up to me, and that can be up to you, and that can be up to anybody who wants to contribute, because now there's less competition with spam. You should be able to make more money on there, more matter.
Yeah, that would be a good time to go pump out some really good content for the music layer.
Oh, there was one more piece. Let's see. Before I get to just telling you to throw up some top posts and let's talk about it, there's another model for governance that's different from the per layer governance. And it's kind of cool because it actually takes into account everybody's total history and their total like participation and how they've been voted on and how the reputation is, everything. And you will, like, anybody can vote on layer wide or site wide proposals, but you're weighing in with like a weighted value based on your entire metrics. And everything's on chain, so we can just reference every little thing that we want to reference as a measurement, as a metric. And this will go into, I think Joe probably and myself described it before on a couple of shows, where the flag system will have an economic score and stuff like that. So like there's a whole bunch of different metrics, and all of them being on chain, we can just go back and, kind of, I got my words mixed up again. We can go back and create a system that uses real data to fairly measure how much input somebody should probably have on a governance issue. So that's going to be something that I don't think anybody's done before in this way. If DAOs continue to be a big hot topic and going into next year, we are going to be, like, at least me, I'm starting a DAO on top of Den. So it's like a DAOception, DAO within a DAO. And we're going to be using all the it'll be a governance as a service thing with a real company in Florida and all that. So the more we do that, the more interesting it'll get. So this is in the Den governance layer. Go check that out. I'm not going to read through it. It's kind of long, but it details that system.
So I haven't seen that actually.
Yep.
Look at that real quick.
Check that out later. Now, moving on. I've still got coffee.
Oh, I can magically just pop right on over here, and there is more coffee.
I've got my educational cup today. It's the one that has German and English words on it, so I can pick up some language.
I have got one of my favorite mugs from when I was fixing people's computers. A customer, we're going to call him Frank, seeing as how that's his name. A guy named Frank. He makes ceramics. He's this older guy, and he just decided one day that I needed like a place for my finger to sit. So He made me a mug with like a little spot for it to sit.
Dope. He should get on the maker layer.
He'd probably like that. He's a cool guy.
Or the art layer.
There's a lot of people that I used to do work for that would probably really think that Den is sweet. There's the artist guy. We have an artist. He was a dentist, but apparently something happened with his vision, and he can no longer do dental work. So he takes old computer parts and turns them into stuff. I think if you were in the shop at one point, you probably saw the wall art. There was some huge piece of motherboard bits all stuck together. But he'd be really cool for this. I should see what he's up to.
Yeah, and that relates to something else I saw on Den, and that Dragon Chain posted on their blog. I can probably just bring that up if I go to. I think I can remember the URL off the top of my head.
I'm gonna hope you can.
I think it's /blog. Yeah. Excuse me. This Dragon Chain system is what is. Well, we're using part of it on Den, and there's a lot more that's gone into in this article. But if you check out the company blog, and as a reminder, Den is built on Dragon Chain, and so that's why I reference it so much. But the advertising system that we use is, especially on Den, the external advertising that Den uses is a cool system that I'm going to be using a lot of, where you rely on, for example, you were just talking about how you know a lot of people, or some friends that you've been working with for a while, or old customers would actually probably like Den a lot. Well, if there's a boosted post and you share that to them, whether it's a text message like this one here is boosted, right? It's purple. That means it's boosted both internally and externally. If you go down here and hit this share button, you get a custom link that will reference your account. So if you hit share and then you send that in a text message or an email or carrier pigeon, I guess it doesn't matter that much. QR code sticker. Your link backs, whenever they click on the link and come to Den and check it out, will reference that you as a user are the one that sent them there. And you get paid out extra matter for that. So it's a way
that's
to
pretty nifty,
people to think and use their brains and say, you know what, this one dude would really love that. Let me send this to him. And as somebody that person knows, he's probably going to listen to me more than just a spam advertisement that somebody targeted to you on Facebook or on Google or on whatever.
You are a better ad than a random billboard.
Right, because the perfect ad is not an ad. The perfect ad is, hey, this is actually useful and you're going to love it because I know you, right?
Hey, I use this. Let me show you why it's cool.
Yeah. And so if you look at, if you go to your home feed, you'll see some of them boosted. Let's see, just look for the rocket ship, right? Purple rocket ship. Let's find some different colors. Purple. There's blue, and then is it red? Is the other one?
I think there's a red one.
Here's blue, right? So blue is boosted internally. This means it's going to show up further up in the layer in the list of things. So if I go to the food and beverages layer, creature comforts.
The best layer, let's be honest.
It's pretty, like it's organized
so
and it's
good.
got good content, and the blue boosted, it shows up as if more people had voted it up, right? And if people do vote it up, then the advertiser actually gets their money back, or 85% of their money back. So you can actually bet on yourself and say, like, for example, this is great photo, right? I'm assuming this talks about that dish and how to cook it. Had some banana left. There were 3 types of vegetables. Yep. The kind of curry I chose, right? So this is a great post. I'll go ahead and vote on it while I'm here. And I'm going to give it some extra love just because I like to use up my energy every day. I got 10,000 left out of my 13,000 a day. I've been doing this for a while. So
You burn up your 10,000 a day?
I try to, yeah. Because if I do that, then I'm regenerating 10,000 more per day. Right. And another one of those payout pools is the more energy you use, or really the way that it's written, I think, is the more that you generate, which is a measure of how much you use. Semantics. Anyway, you use it up and you get paid out for that. You get rewarded for that, right? So you're actually going to get paid more for going through and using up your energy every single day. Go to bed, wake up tomorrow, you got more. It regenerates, no big deal. But instead of just letting it sit there, if you use it up, you get rewarded for that. Whether you're voting down or voting up, or whether you're commenting and replying, use up your energy. That's a really good tip. And downvote is another really good tip. If you see something that's obviously garbage, like,
it's not a bad thing. Like, just that's the thing too. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, downvoting people is not something that's just saying like your content is bad. It can be, but it has more of a purpose than in other places. So it's not like just, I hate this, I think your content is bad, let me downvote you meanly. It's like, no, just maybe it's in the wrong spot.
Like here's an example. I downvoted something today and it was fine. It was just something that I would like to see. I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh well. So for example, if it's in the cryptocurrency layer and you're talking specifically about day trading, to me that's, and it's everyone's different opinion, I guess, but to me that's not about cryptocurrency at all. That's about day trading. You can talk about trading stocks, you can talk about trading, different commodities, whatever. Cryptocurrency is like about cryptocurrency. So sometimes I'll put like there's a wrong layer tag, which is supposed to be in all of them, but is not. Out to see why not. I think that's probably my fault. So yeah, sometimes I'll just actually link to the other layer and say, hey, try it in the trading layer. You might get better feedback on that. Or
see, that's a really nice way to do it too. Mm-hmm. Is just link it and be like, hey, you might find some more people over here that'll want to talk about this. I've noticed one thing that I'm sure there's no real way to deal with it right now, at least that I can find. Sometimes you'll find a post that is really good content, but it's in the wrong spot, and it's already been like bumped up really high, and it's like cemented there. I'm sure there's no way to just move those, but that would be interesting.
Sometimes, so every period is basically think of everything as 1 day cycles. So if you vote on something, you can't go back and re-vote on it after an hour. That's right. To mitigate some potential workarounds and hacks, if you want to call them that. Right. Exploits is a word. Man, I'm discovering after doing this show that I have a hard time both reading something and finishing my sentence at the same time.
You might be a little bit dyslexic, actually.
Probably.
I absolutely have to be at this point. I try to take the wrong packages to the wrong houses 24/7.
I know whenever I was in the Navy, I used to, this sounds kind of more dangerous than it really is, but I used to work on cruise missiles, Tomahawks, in the Navy, and I used to misread the mission ID, the mission number. And I had to make sure, I had to be really careful because I didn't want to blow up the wrong spot,
Oh my God.
But it's not that easy to do. There's checks and there's different. It's sort of, honestly, it's similar to how crypto works, where you have a verification number. If you think about how public-private keys work, it's nothing like that. But you had a separate number that's supposed to match, so you couldn't do that. Hey, I think Rockstar's on. Victoria.
Oh yeah. I don't know is that who that is?
Over there. Well, do you see that hair? I'm assuming that the red hair means that's Rockstar.
Yeah, probably. That makes the most sense.
Yeah.
That's a great. I know that they keep getting brought up a lot, but that's a good example of somebody that makes good content.
Yeah, I hit on Rockstar a lot just because that's one of the earlier people that I started noticing stayed. I think if I remember correctly, I was like, oh, somebody who likes grunge music. Awesome.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, and I think she was covering a Pearl Jam song, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's cool.
But there's a lot of other great creators too. I don't want to diminish other people's work. And actually,
I want to throw Crucibles out there really quick as being one of my favorite people. They just hit a month, I think, is what we were looking at. They just hit a month of being on here. Mm-hmm. And they made a really nice post about it, and they've got their little.
I see you've got it pulled up there, and it's
yeah, they've got their little character that I see all the time. It's just a big old wall of love towards the Den community, and thanks for being here for a month and enjoying the platform and having a good time. It's always good to see your content.
That's a great use case for people that don't understand JPEGs and NFTs and stuff. It's if you have the same character, especially if it's pretty unique. I know a couple of people that. I wouldn't recognize them on the street, but if they were wearing a T-shirt that had their Bored Ape on it or something like that, I'll be like, "Oh, it's you! You're the one person with that one avatar." Kind of thing.
At some point, when there is inevitably some kind of a giant Den meetup separate to other meetups, that would be clever. Get a bunch of shirts that just have your picture on it, so people can identify you easier.
Yeah, I was told that that's basically how people were identifying each other in New York when they had there was there's a whole NFT event there, and just like in Miami right now for Art Basel, and they were basically people had hats and shirts that had their NFT on it, so that you could see who they were, because everyone on Twitter and everyone on Telegram and Discord, they use these avatars and these icons, and you don't know what people look like.
No idea who they look like at all.
Yeah, you can't often pronounce their elite hacker name either, their gamer tag. So.
Their name is too elite for you to understand.
Yeah. Speaking of elite, the Cars Lair I've been checking out a little bit too. I'm a closet Cars fan, but I'm also really dismissive of fancy supercars and stuff. So I like this. This is great content. I'm going to vote it up, and I'm actually going to apply quite a bit of energy to it. But it's not because I personally care about supercars. It's because this is great content for Den. And I don't know, you disagree with me on this, but I tend to think that all these cars are the damn same.
I was about to comment on that and say, did you really earlier say that this Koenigsegg looks like a Bugatti in the same regard?
No. I did. Absolutely.
You were so incorrect.
Well, they're similarly curved because I guess aerodynamic.
Now, I will say,
similarly, inspired. They all look like different prototypes of the same car. Like trying to figure out.
Okay, I'll give you that. Now, here's the thing, though. You could buy this, like any of these that you're looking at right there,
Yeah, I'll bring yours
or for approximately. Yeah, so you could buy this. You could have your nice Koenigsegg. You could have all these expensive, $1 million cars, or you could just buy the new Corvette, which looks like an Italian supercar, is cheaper and easily quick as can be.
And I also don't like it. It looks like a Lotus. It looks like maybe.
I don't know how I feel about the fact that it's a front end engine or a rear engine. I still don't know how I feel about it because Corvettes, it's a mid engine.
Yeah.
Corvettes are supposed to be this long front end with this big engine in the front. So I don't know how I like it, but in the couple that I've seen out and about, they're pretty nice.
You know, my favorite, I think like late 70s, I'll do 1978 Stingray is my favorite Corvette. Yeah, images. Let's bring up some images.
Actually, we're still looking at mine, but I pulled some up.
I had
so the C3 body style.
Crush on this car for so long. It's got that big long front end.
You can still have a crush on that car. That is respectable.
I know. I might have to get it back. Even the two-tone looks good, which like going into the 80s that was popular, and then I ended up hating it. But now
I didn't like that at all on the Corvettes, but on these models, the C3 models, they actually look really good. That does not. That looks like a fake car. I kind of like it. Have you seen that Hot Wheels game?
No.
There's a game where you can literally, it's microtransaction-y as hell, but there's a game where you literally just get to build Hot Wheels tracks and run Hot Wheels down them. It's pretty sweet.
Every single one of those microtransaction games that people are tired of paying microtransactions for, instead of retiring them, they should just convert them all to the opposite, which is play to earn. You can just plug it all into crypto and be like, instead of taking your money, we will now give you this token that we just made up out of thin air. And it would still be better. Sense. Getting something useless is better than paying money to play a game.
100%. Especially when you've already paid for.
Don't get me wrong. Buy software if you want to buy software. Buy games from game makers. Games are important, but taxing people every time they play, I don't know.
No, not so much.
Logan liked it too. I'm not the only one.
No, you definitely were not. That Stingray is Jackie, my wife. To the people that don't know, she has I guess we're gonna call him a rich uncle, and he has one of the like Indy 500 anniversary editions of that car. Mm-hmm. So now I kind of want to see what he's doing with it.
I had this car for a while. When I was in the Navy, I went through a phase where I had too many cars. I bought one of these from. Actually, about that many miles on it, too. It was a lady who had this pretty hard to find 5-speed turbocharged 280ZX it had one of those, like it talked to you, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And it was a tape recorder. You could hear the tape recorder kicking on the back, and it'd be like, left door open, or lights are on.
That's awesome. They must have just had like a section of tape, a short section with just those little bits on it that would go back and forth.
Get bashed with this as 68 or 69 Ford Mustang. Everything else is for kids.
When I was growing up, my grandfather had a 68 Fastback, and it was going to be my first car until I decided to borrow it and drive it down. It was a 1968 Fastback, and I drove it from my grandfather's house to the library, which was not too far away, and then back. And it was the first time that car had run in a long time, and I don't know how he knew, but he knew because it was sold shortly after, like less than a month later. We sold it to a restoration group.
What
a good-looking car. That's a Boss, I think, actually.
You familiar with Heartwood? That video I just showed earlier, where they were. The owner of that place has one of these that was sitting out in front of his yard for like years. And then finally, one of his friends, Frank, fixed it up for him, and I've been seeing him drive it around.
That's awesome.
It's slick, man. They're nice. They're classic.
I've seen a little 64.
I do like this one. Which one? This one a little bit better. This is kind of like
that's a fastback. The one with the extra bit coming off the back down the end, connecting the tail and everything.
Is that what they used for the Mach-E, the electric Mustang?
Something like that. I haven't seen it too much.
I've read about it, but ooh, no. What?
What the hell?
Hold on. Where's the Mustang?
Yeah, oh god, no, I didn't like that at all. No, you're right. It's an SUV. The Mach-E is an SUV Mustang.
Oh, okay.
I've seen one. I saw one of these in traffic the other day, and it's not great.
I thought it was more like this.
There's Doug DeMiro doing a video on it.
It's a little fatter, I guess. Okay. I mean, that's fine. It just wasn't what I was hoping it was. I was hoping it was literally that fastback, but electric.
Just an electric fastback. I don't think we're going to get that unless we build it. That could be a project.
What they want. Yeah, I don't see that here. Cool. You know what I am excited about? You know this. I'm actually in line already for a Cybertruck. I don't know where my spot is. Oh, yeah, dude. I pre-ordered this thing probably 2 days after it was announced. I mean, it was 150.
After they broke the windshield, or after they broke the window during a demonstration.
Especially after they broke the windshield.
You're not the only one. My buddy Tyler. Actually, I think you've met him. The guy I met on Craigslist. I don't think I've ever told you that. I met a guy on Craigslist. I usually say he's the best thing I bought on the internet. Basically, he came down and took like most of my computer collection with him when we moved. He's the dude that helped us out. But he is like gung-ho on the whole Tesla train. So he pre-ordered one as soon as he could, and he's like checking it daily, hoping he gets it.
Well, I'm checking my cryptocurrency bags to make sure I can pay for it once it's out, because I pre-ordered it, and I'm like, I'll get the money later. I'm sure it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It looks like a polygon that didn't render well.
It's ugly as hell, but I love cyberpunk aesthetic. I love I'm one of those people that grew up without a lot of electronic stimulation, so I read books and things, and I dove into sort of like I was really big into steampunk for a little bit, and then I went started playing with more computers, and was like, cyberpunk's where it's at, as a kid, and I never lost the computer thing. So when I saw the Cybertruck, I was like, yep, that's it.
This is mine. Like, this is what I have to have.
My boy.
All three angles.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fine. It's got an LP Air attachment, if you like to use tools. Oh, get bash degrees. The Mach-E is terrible. I'm not the only one.
Good. I'm glad. I like this person.
40 power for high voltage tools as well. What else is it got? It has no frame, no chassis. The skin is the frame. It's an exoskeleton. It's the same. It's the same stainless that they're using on Starship with SpaceX. And apparently it's supposed to be 9mm bulletproof, so I'll have to shoot it, of course, if you want to go out.
Of course, we're going to shoot it.
Yeah. We'll go out to my dad. We'll record it for Den.
Hell yeah.
And then we'll shoot a Cybertruck to see if it really is. 100% I'll do that. I don't care.
That sounds like a blast. We'll just pick a spot that makes sense to shoot it, and it'll look great with a bullet hole in it.
Yeah, you know how people go out and spend money on fake decals to put oh, look, I'm so cool, I got bullet holes.
Blast a hole through it, might as well.
I have to pay attention to where the battery packs are, because they're going to put those in the frame too. So anyway,
I have seen with that they've also got the rails in the back that they have on cargo planes, the little sliding rails, so you can tie anything down.
They've got attachments. They got this thing, Cybertruck has attachments in case you wanted. So this is an accessory. You can order the quad. That was one of the options when I ordered mine. Was, do you want the quad? Do you want?
Wait, that's an option that comes with it, and you didn't pick the quad?
No. But I did get the full self-driving kit before the price went up.
Okay, well then that's acceptable. You're not going to get a quad that looks like if you shined a light at it, it would refract. But
yeah, it looks fantastic, and I bet it's fun because it's that was a lot of torque.
And I think that I'm slowly liking it more as I'm looking at it.
This isn't real, but that's kind of cool. If it could collapse all the way down, that would work. What do you call those? A collapsy box.
Oh, no, what do they call? They have campers that are like that. The pop-up campers.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. A pop-up camper. So I don't know. We'll see what kind of attachments and accessories come along with it, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
Well, this has been a tangent.
I told you anything goes as long as it starts with something that's on Den. So
see, that's the best part.
There. Let's get rid of that. What else did I have up? Oh yes,
these are so good.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
I can talk a little bit about it. So this guy, I noticed. I noticed that this guy posted his flaming Den logo the other day, and it broke my brain for a minute just because of how cool it was. So like this guy, he makes some neat animations. I really might. I'm just gonna say it here. I might get with him at some point and see if he could do some kind of a cool animation of like maybe a coffee mug being filled up or something with the Den logo on the side, and like maybe as the coffee comes up, it like catches fire or something.
Absolutely, and
that would be so cool.
I will. Excuse me. I'll pay for that if that happens. I will tip out the creator, and that's one of the things about tipping. Ooh, excuse me. Coffee almost came back up for a second.
Ooh, no.
That's the thing about with tipping now. Like, for example, we could commission a piece of art and then tip out the creator as a thank you and as a payment kind of thing.
Hey, just like right there, really quickly, like, hey, thanks for this, and give them a pile of matter or something.
Yep. No fees, basically instant. There's a 7-day hold on it, but that may or may not be forever. And yeah, content like this is outstanding. I want to see this one with the sun fireball here.
Then look at, if you haven't already, look at the guy on the moon too, because that one's my favorite.
Did I just gloss over that one?
You see, that was cool.
Yeah,
like up a couple more. There's the dude on the moon, and I like it for some. I just like space. Just planting a Den flag on the moon.
Yup.
I guess we're gonna put a Dogecoin there, so we might as well put a flag there.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be. I don't know which one's gonna win, but Elon has committed to putting an actual Dogecoin on the actual moon.
Oh, that's great.
Which I'm sure he'll absolutely do. He's going there anyway. Why would he not?
Might as well.
And so then I saw there was somebody that was going to put some Bitcoin up there too. It was like a startup that had a plan to add it to, just like a lot of the other launches where you can put a thumb drive on it and send it along the way.
Wild.
Like my name is on Mars on the Curiosity rover. It's just on a thumb drive. I was sort of here. My thumb drive was here. My wife got that for me and sent it off to the Mars rover.
You should have put a file on it on the off chance somebody ever looked at it. Just put a file on it that just said, "Here's where I left it," or something like that. Like, oh, it's on the moon. They're on Mars. That's where I left my flash drive. Yeah, I saw those pop up a few days ago. He had another post where he posted some of the earlier ones, I think. And I was about that. I think I texted you about it right then.
I'm going to tip out 30 matter to this just because it's really great stuff. And, I don't always get around to everybody who posts great stuff and tip them out, but I have no problem continuing to do that. So if you see some tips from me, it's because, well, I'll leave a note and tell you why. All right. So what is this?
Great.
Motion graphics artist, obviously. Cool. Oh, there's an Instagram. So you can check out this artist on Instagram too, it looks like.
Oh,
which brings me to this post over here. I saw somebody posted some earnings from different sites for comparison. The Peak Studio, right on.
I'm just going through this guy's post history and seeing some of the other stuff.
I like to do that. I like to, just kind of branch out from a topic and end up.
This is what's happening. I've noticed a lot lately that I don't really get on other sites, and I know that I keep trying to do. I'm not trying to just plug this because I'm here, but I definitely find myself just getting lost on tangents substantially more than I do on other places, because like people will actually sit there and make a comment that is something engaging that has to do with the topic, and then I can kind of go from there. The history layer has had so much cool stuff on it. Like I learned the other day about a really early Christian civilization in Egypt that I didn't know much about. Something about like the earliest adobo buildings. There's just some really neat stuff posted, and 9 times out of 10 they have sources. The oldest complaint in history. That was cool too. Just somebody being really mad about the quality of iron that they received.
That's
and
great.
it's like,
I toured a couple of places. This is funny. I was in the Navy and, went out every time we'd stop in to get supplies and restock or whatever. We would go out in town for a couple of days and check out that country, which was a fantastic way to learn about the world. But there were at least 2, maybe 3 different countries that I went to where we went on some tour. And the tour guide was like, "This is the oldest temple in the world. This is the remains of the oldest temple in the world." And so at least 3 places have the oldest temple in the world.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? Let's see, we've got the Greek. There's places in Greece that claim they have the oldest stuff.
Yeah.
Egypt definitely beats Greece on that one, but they claim they have some of the oldest stuff. That's cool. That's a thing I'd like to do at some point. It's kind of hard getting to absorb a whole bunch of history when you're in the United States, and we're allowed to learn about. Let's be honest, like 300 years worth of it, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
If I go to Europe, I can walk down the street and see a building that's 500 years old, and it's just a coffee shop.
That's something that I said probably in the Red Pills layer, which is an interesting layer, about like one of my trips to Germany, about how there's such old buildings there that you don't really see any of that in the U.S. because we've only been around a few hundred years.
Yeah, we really are new.
Somebody brought up like that you learned about. That's taught in the history books.
And you
right.
learned about.
Absolutely,
that is very
stuff
true.
here. There was a lot of stuff here. I mean, I've seen.
There still is a lot of stuff here. Oh my god, the Ancient Aliens guy!
I love that show. There's a lot of bullshit on there, but there's a lot of good stuff on there.
You mean all of it?
No, not all of it.
Those people are allowed to go into real historical sites, take an artifact that's real, chop it in half, and say, well, damn, they didn't have power tools, so they couldn't cut it like this. No, who would have thought? Like, you chopped it in half with a saw. Of course they couldn't do that.
I'm not saying that by the time they got around to season 8 that they stopped finding shit to talk about and they made some things up.
They made everything up.
Happened. But there's some weird shit out there, and the first few seasons did a very good job of talking about it. And if you don't like watching that, an even more entertaining way to watch that show is was it Vice had Bronson what is it, Bronson and Friends watch Ancient Aliens?
I think so.
Anyway, they just get around and they smoke a lot of weed and eat a lot of food and talk about Ancient Aliens with it playing in the background.
Every time I've ever listened to Ancient Aliens, it has been blasted.
It's like one of those. It's one of those like this. They got a multi-season TV deal to sit around and watch Ancient Aliens and be inebriated while they do it because it's funny. Action Bronson and Friends. Ancient Aliens. That's the episode.
I would need a lot of inebriation to be able to deal with that guy's hair.
If you want to just like watch it for fun, those are the ones to watch because it's literally the whole episode. They watch the whole episode.
Okay, that's worth it.
With it like on us like playing behind the sofa kind of thing.
Could it be possible? Could it be possible?
So what I wanted to bring up though is the last post I wanted to bring up was from Scott C. Business, and Scott's been on Den quite a while now. Typically posts the same thing that he posts on the other layers, which I imagine there's good and bad with that as far as like metrics, because it's probably the same content, and so you can sort of do an apples to apples. But at the same time, if you're not posting it on Den first, you're not getting the maximum exposure out of it, just the way that SEO works and the way that Den is more of a newer platform and things like that. But that said, Den.Social lands right here in the middle somewhere, and it looks like there's more of these than I thought. Like I didn't know. I think Cause TV. Some of these are just video, right? Odyssey, DTube are just like YouTube type sites, and so these aren't all the same. YouTube itself is on here, for example.
I've heard of a couple of these a little bit,
and I've heard a little bit about the what are they called? Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Their networks, I think, just came around recently, and they are in a phase of kind of like pumping their brand, which is cool. And I was surprised, like, man, that's a chunk of change over there. So I might have to go see what's going on there. But I was happy to see us on the list here. Definitely, like some people. So this is October, right? Now compare this to what did Crucible say that they earned? Right?
Oh, I didn't see what they said.
October for Den.Social was $20 Canadian, and then Crucibles, in the Den Lair, right? I can find this because of that avatar right there. Says.
Oh yeah, that's the only way I got to them.
This is probably the same month, right? Not counting the lore tips, which no, you should count the lore tips as a creator. You got to count your tips. Currently at 207 after 1 month.
So there's two examples, here, of the same month from different experiences, depending on where you're posting, what you're doing, and things like that.
Yeah,
And
depending on what your niche is.
depending on what your niche is, and part of, if you would like to take on a creator role on Den as like a serious, okay, let me maximize my rewards and things like that. You do have to pay attention to. Let me see if I can bring it up. I tried to last week. You do have to pay attention to when the most active periods are, which layers are more active, and things like that. So if I go to site-wide metrics, you can actually see day to day where you have more or less energy usage. And if you have more energy usage on some days, maybe that means there's more competition that day. So for example, let's say I look at this and I see Monday and Monday again are both relatively, and Sunday as well, are both relatively under rewarded days. Like people don't vote as much apparently with the energy usage. So theoretically, there's less competition in those days. So I might decide if we do another show, that video we're making on the Epic miner, right? We might decide to post that on Monday just because it seems like there's a void for content on Mondays based on this chart. So you can do a little bit of research.
Does everybody have access to this panel as well? I'm sure that's actually really nifty.
Yeah, you could bring it up right now.
I was unaware of that.
Click on your name in the top right.
Right.
Up here, name, top right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you've got payouts and boosts and tips. Boosts are, for example, when you pay to boost a piece of content. I boosted the content for today's episode, for example. And so you can go back in and you can look at your own boosts to see how they performed, right? I got 5 external
cool.
clicks. Yeah. And so I can see that I have 3 unique refers. This is what I was talking about, where you click on the share button. So 3 unique people, different people, shared it. And of those 3 people, 5 clicks came back. So you get a little chart, a little pie graph.
Yeah, you get like this nice little sandwich of data. That's nice.
Yeah. So the information is there if you want to really take a crack at maximizing your strategy. And there's strategies that exist that haven't been discovered yet. So play around with it. This one
this is wild.
An external, so you can see. So internally it boosted up as well, and with a 92% consensus. So I'll get a little bit of my money back on that one, a little like 80% of my money back, 75% of my money back or something. If I reach 100% consensus, 100% consensus, it's 85%. So that's how, you can dig in to the data and inspect these things. You can
that's wild. There's not a lot of places like to hide that kind of stuff. So the fact that you can just kind of sit there and transparently look at all the site metrics is pretty sweet.
Yeah. And thank you for tips that I've gotten too. And as as a content creator, the same as in the US, if you're a server, your tips are what you rely on. So maybe that's your strategy, is to get tipped out by, let's say somebody has a hard question to answer and you know the answer, and you go in and you lay out a quality answer, you might get tipped out for that. So being a recent thing, I don't know how much money you'll get being tipped out. You might want to just go around and try being awesome. And see how that works out.
Elon Musk liked somebody's tweet in the introduce yourself layer.
Yeah, and then you can see obviously which comment you received the tip from, and then if you see these world blockchain tips, that's from if you ask a question that gets hit in that layer, or if you're a host, then you get ownership lot for that layer. Oh. And that's tomorrow, by the way. We're talking about regulation. You got any regulation questions and innovation questions, David?
Oh, not off the top of my head right now.
Well, if you come up with some, you can go in here and add it.
That's actually good. I should go through here and read through the list of questions just to kind of cram a bunch of stuff in my brain, actually.
And they get voted on, and then we go from the top down. We'll refresh, go from the top down, start answering questions. And then those people who get answered get lot, and their names will end up, where's that layer information here? And this will grow as more people start getting it. It's directly, your rewards are directly related to how well the episode does. So if you share around a whole bunch and you get a lot of views, the more views you get that first week, the more lot gets handed out to the host and to the people that ask questions and things like that. And then obviously the more use this layer gets and the more matter it generates, 5% of all of that gets split among all owners. So if you want to launch a podcast or something, this is a great way to do it because you're incentivizing people to be ambassadors of your brand by giving them ownership in it as a reward for participating in it, that kind of thing. So there's
Actually, I haven't chimed into one of these blockchains yet.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up just as a reminder anyway, so I've hit that. Let me go and see, because we're at an hour now, and I like to talk for about an hour before starting to see myself out. If anybody would like to hop in at this point, is a good time. Let me pull this back up. If anybody has anything they want to ask or have anything they want to say, I'm going to go through the comments now and see what's in here.
I'm checking to see if there's anything worth showing off.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there is. Oh, I wanted to talk about airdrops real quick. This is spam. Don't do this. But somebody mentioned having an airdrop layer. And that's what I was getting at when I said sometimes I'll say wrong layer, try the trading lounge layer. Airdrops, if you don't know, is something that is not an Apple thing where you share files, even though it's the same name or whatever. It is a way that, let's see. It's a way that cryptocurrency or blockchain-based companies or projects or platforms reward their users, attract new users, or basically advertise their brand. And they do that by typically what they do is they will, for example, Uniswap is a website that we have our tokens listed on. And so if I had in the past gone in and used Uniswap, like back in the V1, V2 days, after V3 was coming out, they had an airdrop of a new token that they came up with called Uni, and they just looked at their data at the blockchain and said, okay, every Ethereum address that has interacted with our contract in the past will get this free chunk of money. So I got airdropped like $700 or $1,100 or whatever it was. And that happens all the time in cryptocurrency because people are just trying to compete with other companies and get their name out there. And this is a way for you to target a demographic without knowing who they are and without caring like what country they live in or whatever. You can target people who have used something similar to what you're trying to sell or what you're trying to show people and get out there by just like airdropping to your let's say it's Uniswap, and there's a competition called Sushi Swap, which is basically a clone with some added features. And so let's say that either one of them wanted to advertise to the competition's users. Well, all you would have to do is look at the Ethereum blockchain. It's all completely open, and send your token to all their users. And then all of a sudden, everybody got sushi drops. And like, what is sushi?
Okay, that's pretty sweet.
What is this? And they go look at your website, right? So that happens a lot. And a lot of people talk about those a lot because they're free money. It's exciting. You know what I mean? Like you can pay your rent, or you can buy some tokens from a project that you do like, even if you don't know.
Wouldn't that be great? Like your equivalent amount of rent shows up in some random coin.
Yep. So it could be a cool. I know y'all weird tracks that a lot. He could make some extra matter by just posting in Den, like when the relevant snapshots are happening. So it's like, hey, if you throw some money on this network, you might get a airdrop in the future based on yada yada. So that would be cool. You just whatever the latest airdrops are, and that'll also give a place to send people that want to talk about airdrops and talk about trading instead of cryptocurrency itself to that one. So that's kind of a like a sort of a like in the beginning it would have all been in the cryptocurrency layer, but now there's been a little bit of growth and there's a little bit of interest in specific topics. You see things branching out that they're still under that umbrella, but
would be nice if they had some little spaces.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's all I wanted to say about that. The VTech meme is an old meme. I didn't know if anybody would get, but since we were talking about cars today, I thought that would be appropriate. So I put that in when I boosted it. Jacob Wayne understands. The airdrop, yeah. So go check out the LCP airdrop layer. I brought that up, so we'll consider that advertising. I support that. You should. And actually, what's winning next? Is it reshuffled? No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, well, sort of. Is it in order? It is in order. Okay. So advice would be cool too. Advice, motorcycle, and then it drops down.
Advice would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The motorcycle one's going to make it in eventually. You got 36 people in there. What's the top? Motorcycle. Motorcycle advice again. Japan would be an excellent layer, actually. It'd be
I'm kind of surprised that one's not already a layer.
cool. So check these out and see what you want to pitch it on. Boom, boom. Rest of the questions. What do we got? Where are we? Here we are. Advertise with airdrop. Concept of time. We talked about that a little bit. Time, you get short version. If you're holding dragon tokens for Dragon Chain, not for Den, you can hold them for Den in the future to get rewards based on those pools. But we're talking about it just purely as a Dragon Chain thing. If you have one dragon token that you hold personally, it's not on an exchange, it's in your own wallet, you have your own private keys privately held, you will get 1 time per day per dragon added to your wallet, to your address. So if you have 1 dragon, tomorrow you'll have 1 time. Next week you'll have 7 time. In a month you'll have 30 time. But if you have 10 dragon, you'll have 10 time tomorrow, and you'll have 300 dragon or time at the end of the month. And that's how time works. And the one caveat is that if you ever move them, and you ever move them to a different wallet, that, you know, whether it's putting it on an exchange or something, or whether it's sending it to you, David, I wanted to give you all my dragons or something, that
Feel free.
That time wipes out. It deletes all the time that was on there. So it's a way to incentivize people to hold on to the tokens in a safe manner, so they're not just leaving them on an exchange, but also in a way to measure someone who's anonymous on the internet, measure their relative, I don't want to use the word trustworthiness, but I'll use it for lack of a better term right now, because this is the scarcity mechanism used on DragonNet instead of proof of work or proof of stake, from mining, to keep people honest, to incentivize good behavior, so that you have the majority of nodes are running the correct software and they're up to date and DragonNet stays healthy and all that stuff. So it's the way that you incentivize people to do things that you want them to do, that makes your project work in the first place. So that's what time is. And that was supposed to be the short version, but it kind of was.
It was a
I
short
see a fix in the music layer, says Street Meat. Can you fix the gaming layer? No, I don't have any ownership tokens in the gaming layer. I would like to either acquire or buy some, because I do plan on posting a lot of gaming stuff in there after I get my bottleneck of the current projects done. Probably first quarter next year, I'll be a Den gamer or something, right? How can denizens like myself with no gaming lot help fix or improve the layer? I've posted about my testing of the betas this year, and no one cared. So yeah, the gaming layer is one of those layers that could be a little bit busier. And if you have no lot, this is a good way, actually, bringing it up. Maybe make a post in the layer after governance is live, so that anybody who does have lot, number one, they can tip you some lot in case they want you to be able to have some control to make proposals and stuff. But number two, they can create a proposal. Even if you can't, you can start a proposal and say, hey, can somebody with some lot implement these changes? Because I think it would be useful. And then people can vote on that. So that's how you would have to do it, is you would have to just talk to somebody who does have a lot. And right now we don't have direct messaging. That's in the future, but it's the best way probably is just to post in the layer. And if there's not enough people checking out the layer to really make any progress on that, then it's going to be a matter of maybe reaching out to some friends to start something, right? Because what I've seen is you get a little bit of noise in a layer and it kind of revives it. That's happening recently to the privacy layer, thanks to Angel Breaker and one other person, I forget who was posting in there. Angel Breaker just posted some really good content in the privacy layer too. But yeah, hopefully somebody will cut you in on that layer if you start posting good continue to post good content and stuff. And I'm sorry that nobody saw it. It's just that not everybody is subscribed to every layer. Sometimes I'm subscribed to too many layers, I think, because I miss stuff that way. So it's a good question, though.
That's an example of good content too, by the way. Like going through and testing betas and giving your opinion on them. That's even if it didn't gain a bunch of traction at that point in time.
Yeah, and I was thinking like something that I do sometimes, sort of, I don't know, therapeutically, I guess, is I'll play Skyrim, or I'll play one of the Elder Scrolls games, or something that's single player and open world and stuff. And I started playing the Anniversary Edition recently because they put some creation kit stuff in there, creation club stuff. And so like I could totally, like, I'm playing through them anyway. Why don't I fire up OBS, hit record, and then chop out the boring parts where I'm running around hitting mud crabs and just talk about the new quest, or the new weapon, or the new whatever that was added. So
as you try to remember if what you're looking at is new or not. Like, has this always been here and I just don't remember?
Yeah. You know what, I do find stuff in that game, especially in I never played the Shivering Isles expansion in Oblivion. So there's content that I've never gotten before.
You really should get on that one. That's hailed as one of the better DLCs that's ever come out for a game, and it's excellent.
I've read that.
I mean, it's clunky. It's Oblivion. It's clunky, but the voice acting is excellent, and the actual storyline's really cool.
Fantastic on the Xbox 360. I don't know why you don't have like that good of controller support on the PC version.
There was this weird era, like when computers were when we were doing more gaming. Like I guess 2005, 2006 would be the right era for that game. Where for some reason they just didn't include controller support for most stuff, and it's not fun. But there's some really good mods for Oblivion and for Morrowind, actually, that give you excellent controller support that make it much more bearable.
Well, you have to tune me into those. Maybe we can post those in the gaming layer.
That's a good idea, actually. Just here's how to play Oblivion effectively in 2021.
Yeah, put links to them too, because I'll bookmark that post itself in my gaming folder. And just,
I can do that, actually.
Every now and then I look back. What was that one mod? That kind of thing.
What was that one thing that I was told about on a random live stream?
Foos is asking about, there was some talk about an internal trading system for matter and lore, and wants to know if there are any plans to add lot to the mechanism. Yes, absolutely. We would like to be able to directly buy lot on in Den. There's even been talk maybe of, like, in the future, you could even directly buy matter on Den without having to go to Uniswap and things. Because that's how I've gotten people interested in Den locally, is I just completely got away from talking about Uniswap and like complicated things. And people are much more, if it's just an app and you can do stuff on the app, people are way more prone to use that.
People like to just be told, like, hey, it's a social media site and it doesn't do the things in the background that a lot of other ones do. Like, for instance, over Thanksgiving, I think is a good example. One of my cousins I was talking to about it, and he took it like from the get-go. He thought it was a really cool concept. He thought it was great that there was a way to potentially earn some cash into the crypto world by just using it. I'm pretty sure he's a user now. I need to find out what his name is.
That's like the initial thing, right? Is like, hey, you use this, nobody steals your data and sells it to advertisers. You don't get Amazon asking you to buy the thing you were just talking about on Facebook. And you get paid, by the way.
It blows my mind that people are way more interested in the fact that, hey, it's not stealing all your information than they are about the payouts at this point. Like, when I talk to people,
I'm happy with that.
That's great. Like, seriously, I love that people are concerned about their privacy more than anything at this point.
It's really healthy to have that attitude as well, because value comes in so many different ways. It's not just like a token or a dollar or a bank account or money and that kind of thing. Value comes in an experience and an ability to not get taken advantage of by just living your life. That's valuable in itself. Live my life without somebody harvesting me to sell to advertisers.
I am not your product. Thank you very much. As much as, I mean, I am to most people, but let's try not to be.
What other innovative features differentiate Den.Social from other platforms such as Torum and Reddit? Great question. Den, originally, I wasn't here in the beginning, but from what I understand, it was originally developed because of how awful Reddit had gotten to use. Like, there's obviously some awesome subreddits and some great communities that have stood the test of time. But Reddit overall has just gotten to the point where a lot of people were just kind of like, I'm done with it. And the same sort of thing was happening in a lot of Telegram channels too. Right now, Telegram's the most popular platform next to Discord that's used for crypto projects, right? And Keybase a bit too. But in like the Telegram channels, it was just like nobody wanted to talk about what the Telegram channel was actually there for. Everybody wanted to talk about like Wind Moon and
you know, like, how do I get rich fast? And I didn't make money yet. What is wrong? And you know,
What's happening? This is a surefire bet.
Yeah, so something was needed to sort of facilitate those conversations. Still want to have them, but to facilitate just organizing the madness of the human mind. It's just there's so many, like, you can't shove it all into one room. So Den was created to get away from well, Reddit, for example, does use your data, and they advertise with traditional advertising, and they make a lot of money on their users' content, and they don't give it back to their users. And I'm not totally as familiar with Torum. Are you familiar with that one, David? I think that's the one that's
I just looked it up real quick to get a peek at it.
Is that an onion routed network based?
Where it's got Tor in the name, I would assume.
Assuming that it is. I don't know much about Torum, so I can't speak to that. But Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. One of the things that Den does very well is it gives you any kind of money for the work you do, instead of what is typical in legacy systems and things that I hopefully are going away. They do seem to be going away slowly. Is every user is a resource. Every user is the product that we then turn around and sell to our advertisers. I used to use a lot of Facebook advertising. I know exactly how it works. If I want to, I mean, if you want to go extreme, like tinfoil hat, if I was a nation state that wanted to disrupt the social norm of a country, I no longer have to spend any time developing a strategy for psyops and for disinformation and for starting an internal conflict into that community. All I have to do is go to Facebook, and Facebook will say, okay, what type of material do you want to serve up just to women between these age groups? And what type of material do you want to serve up just to men in these age groups? Or different demographics, like where they live in the Southeast, or are they in California? So Facebook and platforms like Facebook, in my very extreme opinion, is a national security threat, and Den is not a national security threat.
I don't think I would call that an extreme opinion. I think that's a right on the cusp of normal reality at this point opinion.
So that's my sort of like I've been thinking about stuff like that a lot. So I tend to go right to that. You know, maybe it's because I was in the military for a decade. Maybe it's because I see that China's been building a navy like there's no tomorrow for the past 15 years. I don't know. But I tend to look at things like, how does it affect our ability to function as a society? I don't think Facebook helps. It puts you in these weird bubbles. On Den, you just go pick your bubble. I want to be in this layer. You know.
At least you get to pick what you're being showed, right?
So I'm not sure what kind of answer that is, but there's that answer. Same person, Trice. Since Dragon Chain is an American company, what regulations does it have? How does it compare to other projects that aren't regulated by the U.S. government? This is a wonderful question that you should go add to the World Blockchain Roundtable for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's pretty high up.
Mm-hmm. And I actually, here's what I'll do. Not 54, sorry, maybe later. Great question. I can't type in the mornings usually. Please add this to tomorrow's episode of WBRT, which covers this topic precisely this topic. All right. So thank you for that, and I hope it gets answered tomorrow. In short, though, yeah, there's a lot of regulation in the U.S. that applies to Dragon Chain and Den itself. Den, although a hybrid DAO system, where'd that question go? Well, I know what
higher up.
Den is sort of a hybrid system. But it is an LLC in like a Wyoming LLC. I think it's going to go maybe start using their DAO structure in the future. You know, Den is slowly transitioning to a more decentralized platform. I like the way that it became, like, it started centralized just to get something built and off the ground and pushed out there. But then now, especially with governance going in, it's like, cool, a little bit at a time, you take the decision making away from the people that started it and you give it to the people that are using it, and you do the same thing with the value and instead of like, taking everyone's value and extracting it out of their community. We can just give it back to them.
Which, other than this, I don't think anybody else has really done, have they? As far as I can tell.
Yeah, there's been other
There's
attempts.
other ones,
There's
but
been stuff like, and this is more to the other question too. What does it do? Like Steemit, for example, Hive. Those are social media and social networks that are you could relate them, I guess, to Reddit. But they don't operate. They don't work the way that Den works. With, I guess the best way I can say it is the algorithm, right? It's not the same measurement. It's not. I don't even know if they use any of the measurement tools that we use to actually see and objectively find good, bad content the soonest and that kind of thing, the relevant topics. What I see on those platforms is something that has been in the conversation here a lot too, spam. And I think that a lot of that is just because we haven't set the reputation settings properly, or we haven't given the community the ability to set them so that everyone can decide for themselves like who they do and don't want.
all the owners, well, all the people that are, layer owners and stuff can kind of decide what is considered spam to them.
Hive tends to be a better community, in my opinion. This is just my personal opinion. And I think also my opinion, the reason for that is because of what happened, how they began. They've either forked or spun off somehow from Steemit when Justin Sun came in and did his thing where he buys up a company and pisses everybody off and crashes it. So that's the way that I understand the story. If I'm wrong, I would love somebody to update me on that. But the way I see it is when that happened and there was this hostile takeover of Steemit, I think, a lot of the community that wasn't about that left and formed Hive. So they had a common enemy to rally around. And without that common enemy, I don't think it would have been as strong of a community to launch. But everybody sort of had this like, screw that guy, we'll go do our own thing. And that helped. It actually worked to get Hive up and running. And even some of my old, I have trading cards from, what is it called? Splinterlands that I got. I bought them with Dash directly when they were beta. And I still have them. I've never played them. But they were called like Steemit monsters or Steam monsters back then. And then they got moved over to the Hive blockchain and stuff like that. So different things happen in different projects, and there's different communities that are different for good reason. And there's no problem that I have with like being a part of several of them. So I don't think it needs to be an all-encompassing, absorb all the social medias. It can very much be quality over quantity. And the quantity stuff, the fire hose can live on Reddit. And all of the all the bad takes and rude comments can stay over there too.
Yeah, there's a few of those over there. We'll say that.
Last one here. We've got from Ledezi. I haven't voted on it yet. That's why it's at the bottom, not because it's not any good. Great topics today. My concern here, hope you have time to discuss. All right, how to filter future spam. We were just sort of talking about this. Post without value, multi-posting posts, like the same song every day to the music layer. Notice that some users post more than 15 posts in a day. Since new Den users are joining, it's hard to keep track of new posts. I can't be online Den all day, and I've noticed I miss many interesting posts which weren't boosted or trending. I believe this is due to the number of new posts per day. How could Den solve this problem? Maybe a max number of post limit. So yeah, that's an interesting question, because the way that we're designed is there is a max number of posts that you can post every day, and that is however much energy that you've got whenever you post. Another thing that you can do, if you, and this is what I do, right, is you can come in and look at just the top posts, for example, right, hit this button at the top, and it gets rid of all the new posts, and it only feeds you the top posts site-wide. And you can also do that per layer. So right here I have my home feed, and I've got the flame up in the top. And that's only going to give me stuff that's been voted on before. So there's been some sort of evaluation that has risen to the top so you can see what people have voted up. Now, more to your point, though, how do you get the stuff that has been missed by other users that has not risen to the top? Not because it's not good content, just because it got missed. Like, for example, if I'm subscribed to every single layer, even the ones that I have, less of an interest in sometimes,
the new post might drown out somebody that's from a relevant layer. So the two things that you can do there is you can either switch over to the clock, which is where all the new posts are going to show up. And you can even turn on comments if you want to really just see every individual comment on the site as they happen live. Cool. You can do that. But you can also go, I said that works per layer. So let's say you're really into the art layer and you don't want to miss new posts there. So you can just go to the art layer and turn off the flame, switch it to a clock. And now, instead of being showed all the new posts for the entire website, every layer that you're subscribed to and every user that you're following, you'll only get the most recent posts from this one layer, the art layer. So what I would say is pick a few layers that you want to monitor and be really active in, and you should go in specifically to those layers, sort by new, and see what's up. Now, this is an example. Jessica Skolton. This is actually I like the fingernails, and this person is. I could use a little information about maybe there's a technique or maybe there's an example of when you tried and failed. Like here's what they looked like the first try, but they look way better the next time. People really respond to personalization of what you're posting. So while these are, you could argue that they're a similar post every time, but assuming, and I haven't done any searches to see if this person's maybe like faking it or whatever. I don't think so. Probably original. But this, even though it looks repetitive, I don't think it's repetitive at all. They're different pieces of art every time, and a different photograph of the artist every time, which helps me determine that it's probably not stolen.
Yeah, it's probably the same person.
If it is stolen from somewhere, they're doing a lot of work to make it not look like it. But I think these are great. Now if the person was posting this same image over and over and over again, that's spam. So it's a thin line, and it's often based on your personal opinion, right? So some people don't like fingernails. They don't want to see a bunch of fingernails. I think they're great. I don't have any. Maybe I can paint mine and compete.
You should absolutely do that. That would be great.
So yeah, and likewise, and throughout the day, I'll go through the rest of these and do the same. But I would say just go to the what's another one I like a lot? Let me think. Elon Musk is one of the newer ones. If I go to Elon and I'm sorted by clock or time, especially if I have the comments turned on, I can see this comment, which didn't show up a minute ago, right? I turn that off, I only see top posts. I turn that on, I see the comments. So you turn off the comments, turn on by time, and then go to a specific layer, and you'll be able to see the new posts in there without the other stuff getting in the way. So it takes a little bit of work, but that's why you get rewarded too, because if I go in and I find a new post, like let's find a Doge, a moon soon, moon soon. What is this? I don't even know if that's real, right? And I don't think it is at all. So I'm going to downvote it a little bit, and I'm going to move on. Like, give me a link, for example. If that's a tweet, here's how to change what I just did. If you're like, why did you downvote that? And Sherry Hills, you've been active and great, and it's not a negative, like a bad thing. But if you would have given a link to this tweet so that I could go to it, even better if you were to put it in Eternal so I know it's on chain or something like that. But just let me go see where this is that you posted, because I don't know what you're trying to talk about there.
That's one of the things I've been doing lately is kind of go through and find posts and ask people for source material. It's also kind of a good way to go through and try to get stuff to be like, if somebody posts something like that you would like to have a link to it, maybe even just ask them.
Yep. And this is decent content for the layer. It's on topic and it has some links and it has, if you want to learn more, and here's an excerpt from it. So what I was going to say is, you have to go through and evaluate these. And that's where there's a little bit of work, and that's where there's some payout too. That's where if you're one of the first ones to evaluate it, you get paid out more. So go in and do that, and it'll get cleaned up. I've got a new notification. Let me check that. Oh, we did that. Okay. All right. I think we've hit. Okay, and you see this has moved down now. See, in the beginning of the show, this was all the way at the top. It was the first comment was that spam, right? And I voted it down, and I don't know if somebody else has since they've been watching, but it seems to have worked because now it is halfway down instead of all the way at the top, right? So cool. Did we miss anything? That's it. All right. So, Gravity Crab, you got any last words for the day?
Off the top of my head, I feel like we've covered a lot of stuff here and gone on some nice tangents and showed off some good content. And I think we're pretty well all right.
All right. Next week, I haven't picked a topic yet. If somebody wants a particular topic to be hit, post that. Otherwise, it might be top post from Brainstorming again. It's a pretty good routine. You get different stuff every time, different content. It's also holidays, so there's going to be hopefully a lot of interesting.
There'll be all kinds of cool stuff that people throw up.
And I don't know. I should maybe start talking. I should start blogging again and talk about my experiences and things like that. I have a Hanukkah dinner to go to on Friday, and I have no idea
how a Hanukkah dinner to go to.
Yeah, and so maybe like if there was a layer for that, I could go ask, hey, what do I do?
How do I do this?
Yeah, I got invited to a Hanukkah dinner. It'll be great. It's one of my neighbors. But yeah, go evaluate stuff. Use up that energy every day. I'm going to go use up the rest of mine on different posts so that those posts, those content creators get properly rewarded. Hopefully, and so that the content that's shadowing those out, there's too many low effort posts, which doesn't mean they're bad, just that they're lower effort. They should be somewhere in the middle, not at the top. Vote those down a bit, up a bit, maybe up not as much, depending on how much effort's put in. All of those interactions from all the people on Den create this sort of dynamic range of content where at the very top you should have like stuff that you can digest on your way to while you're drinking coffee in the morning, getting ready for work. And then down towards the middle, you should see also good stuff, but maybe if you have some extra time to scroll down, kind of thing.
Which is the beauty of the whole platform.
Yeah.
Getting to see good quality content that the community has taken the time to sit there and decide, like, hey, this is worth looking at.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all I've got. Thanks again, Gravity Crab, for joining me on Coffee with Den.
Always a blast.
I'll see you later today. We'll build a Raptorium miner and we'll write about it.
Ooh, are we recording that? Are we going to do a time lapse of it? We should.
We're going to record it. It won't be live or anything, but
of course.
And then we'll go through and chop it up, and we're going to find the cool thing about that is nobody has done it this way before on this miner that I'm building. There's been a lot of metrics, but it's a very new project with a very interesting CPU mineable algorithm that is it's designed to, if you're into hardware, it's designed to heavily favor L3 cache. And there's just some processors out there that have beefy cache that haven't been tried out yet. So we're going to try some of those out today. If the motherboard comes in. All right, I'll stop rambling and I'll sign off. Everybody have a great week. I'm going to roll not a Den ad on an outro. I'm going to roll one of my favorite Dragon Chain ads just because I want to. So everyone have a good day, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.